Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is 9 a.m. on Friday, and you are joining me, Deb Burton, the host of Friday Friends here at RI Elder Info, where every week I bring you guests that have information that you or someone you know needs to know about. So make sure you hit the like button, the share button, the bells, the whistles, all those social media cues that say, hey, check this out. Now, as you know, RA Elder Info is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we would not be able to bring you Friday Friends every week without the support of our sponsors. So big thank you to Point 32 Health Foundation, United Healthcare, Oak Street Health, 321 Media, and especially to McCarthy Law. As soon as we have a message from McCarthy Law, I am going to be speaking with my fabulous friend Tonya from McCarthy Law about long-term care insurance and things that you must know about long-term care insurance. So, a moment for McCarthy Law.
Here at McCarthy Law, we practice in the areas of estate planning, long-term care planning, elder care law, and residential real estate. Our focus is really on providing peace of mind to our clients.
If you're interested in scheduling a consultation with our office, you can feel free to reach out to us at 401-541-5540. You can also reach out via website at www.mccarthylawri.com. You also should check out our social media, both on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for some helpful tips and tricks.
Hi, Tonya. How are you?
Good morning, Deb. I'm good. How are you?
Good. So you are the new client service coordinator. Is that the right title at McCarthy Law?
Elder Care Coordinator.
Awesome. And what brings you to McCarthy Law? What is your background to be able to help people navigate these health and social service systems?
So I have a very diverse background, but mainly case management. I'm also a licensed broker for educational purposes, and I've spent time in the payer space, in the Medicare space, and also value-based care. So very exciting position to really tie that all together.
Absolutely. So you're seeing firsthand now all of those pieces interplaying.
Yes, and it's a lot for just the lay person or a caregiver or even a senior to just be able to maneuver where to begin.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times people don't realize that Medicare does not cover long-term care. And so it's kind of like, oh, well, I'll just get long-term care insurance. So can you share what is long-term care insurance?
Sure. So long-term care insurance is another form of insurance that an individual can purchase. On average, ideally, a person that is looking into this particular type of insurance would be somewhere between the ages of, say, maybe 50, 55, ideally. That is not to say that persons cannot purchase it sooner or later.
Okay. So in your 50s is the best time to start looking for it. What does long-term care insurance cover? Like, how does it work? Is it just like your regular health insurance, or is it like life insurance? How does it work?
So long-term care insurance is unique because our health insurance, whether we're on Medicare or a managed care plan or a Medigap plan, those insurances aren't going to cover the cost for care that we would refer to more as, we'll say, custodial care that really helps an individual in regards to their adult daily living skills. So things like being able to ambulate, to transfer, to bathe oneself. Long-term care is going to help to fund the cost of care for things like potentially an assisted living or a memory care, or a nursing home, or maybe even care in the community.
Okay. And does long-term care insurance, when you want to buy it, like where do you go? Who do you call to get long-term care insurance?
That's an excellent question, and it's something that as someone is considering who they want to work with, you really want to do your due diligence. And when we think about things like who is selling this type of insurance, we want to work with licensed brokers
Okay.
that have the proper training, credentialing, and education, because there's a lot of factors that are going to be taken into play, and every person's going to be unique.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you want to make sure that the person has all of the right Department of Business regulation credentials and the FINRA credentials, all of those different pieces. Um, when people are trying to find out if they have the right person to purchase it from, where do they where do they verify that information?
So you can verify that information through the Department of Business regulation,
Okay.
because if we think about brokers, there's all different types of brokers.
Right, right. And it can be really confusing where you think like, oh, one like if I liken it to contractors, the person who's building your house may be really good at, the hammer and nail part, but they're not licensed to do like plumbing and electric. Like that's a whole separate part of it. So I'm thinking of insurance in that same way where we have our health insurance, the long-term care insurance, our life insurance. So like knowing where to look to make sure it's the right fit is really important. So the DBR and where else?
Other things that I would recommend to individuals is that if you're currently working with a CPA
Okay.
or your attorney, could be a long-term care attorney, you really want to understand when you're interviewing a potential broker who might be quoting out insurance for you, you want to ask the pertinent questions. You want to understand about their licensure, because some brokers just have what we refer to as a health and life license, and others have licensure that has a much higher regulatory body through FINRA, that they are able to sell what we refer to as securities. And so really working with an individual that understands your tax bracket, understands your assets, understands your goals, taking into consideration what is happening with your health, what other resources you may have put away throughout your lifetime, because everyone's plan is going to be different. So when we align ourselves with a broker that we feel comfortable with, that has the appropriate qualifications, then we can start to understand our budget and build a plan.
And that totally makes sense to like try to look at it as like the whole picture. Now, for long-term care insurance, maybe it's a situation where you have it. How do you figure out what it covers and when to kind of make it kick into effect? Like what should people be aware of for that?
So each policy is going to be different, and there's 3 ways. So if we look at a long-term care insurance policy, that would be one way.
Mm-hmm.
Another way that you hear about is that someone could have a life insurance policy with a rider for long-term care. And a third way is that someone could have an annuity product with the long-term care rider. So when we think about what's going to qualify someone, it's always going to go back to their adult daily living skills. And so their requirement is that they need to be able to have a need to perform, like an inability to perform those skills. And then there are also elimination periods, and that's going to vary really based on the policy that the individual purchases.
I want to interrupt you real quick in case folks don't know. What are considered activities of daily living that somebody might need help for that would trigger the policy?
Right. So if we go back and we think about ADLs, they're not a skilled need that our Medicare benefits would cover. It's a custodial need. So it's going to be things like bathing, dressing, eating, ambulating, toileting, really having that one-on-one assistance to be able to sustain.
And that's like the ongoing, like it's not going to go away, where Medicare would cover if like you're injured short term, the nurse can come in and, take care of the wound or help get things back in order. But these activities of daily living are the things that you're going to need ongoing that would trigger the long-term care insurance policy, if I'm understanding correctly.
Yes. And so that would be a main requirement of any long-term care policy.
Okay.
That you require the assistance with those adult daily living skills.
Can long-term care insurance help cover for like getting the house modified, like grab bars put in or a ramp or something like that? Can some policies help with that?
It really depends upon the policy that you purchase. And so what I always say to individuals when they're starting to interview and different brokers and think about, what it is that they need to supplement what they put aside to be able to pay for care, is try to build a long-term care policy around the budget that you have, understanding what it is that you are most interested or think that you'll need. And lots of times people don't know what they don't know. And so what I always encourage them to do is to maybe understand, like, okay, in your area, if you were going to go to assisted living, what would that cost? If you were going to maybe call a home care agency that provides private pay services, what do those services cost in comparison to the assisted living? How many blocks of hours does the agencies in your area require to be able to provide those services? Or really understanding those things is going to help someone to build a budget that fits for them and makes sense.
It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to think about when you're looking at like the overall planning of what to expect as we get older. What other things should folks be mindful of with the long-term care insurance policy? Like, can we get it triggered to take action and they can just pay the home care agency or the facility? Or do we have to submit reimbursement forms or things like that?
So each policy is going to be different. And these are really important things to consider when purchasing, because some are going to work almost like they're going to pay up front based on the policy that you purchased. So almost like an indemnity product to make that individual whole.
Okay.
When we think about it, insurance is risk and loss. And so that's one option. Another option is going to be that you could receive payment after the fact once you've submitted the required documents. So again, when you're thinking about purchasing, you wanna consider, are you gonna be the person that's going to be retaining the information, or is someone going to be acting on your behalf to submit those required documents to then receive, that compensation? And so there are really quite a few factors to take into consideration.
It feels like it's a lot to have to manage and look into and keep track of and all of those things. Is that something that you can help people with through your role at McCarthy Law?
Absolutely. I'm just thinking about my current caseload now, and I'm thinking about the families and the clients that we serve and how they work with just our team here, and how we in turn are collaborating with their team in the community, with who their financial advisor is, with who their CPA is. Because again, everybody's picture is going to be so individualized, and so being able for us to almost take a snapshot and understand, we have the expertise to be able to almost forecast what some of those different roads are going to look like, to help you feel empowered and receive education to make the best decision for yourself or your loved one.
That is awesome, because I feel like, life maybe has one or two tracks. One is kind of the regular road that's predictable. And then there's, oh my goodness, this was not what I expected. And so it's important to kind of have an idea what the goal destination is. So if people are really thinking about this, is long-term care insurance something that you sell, or you're just having conversations with people?
So at McCarthy Law, we don't sell any type of insurance. I do, like I shared earlier, I do have my broker's license from an educational standpoint, to really work with the team here. But each and every one of our attorneys is going to work with, when a client comes into the firm, we're going to work with who you have in place. And if you don't have someone in place, we're always going to give you a minimum of 2 or 3 individuals that have the appropriate licensure for you to interview. And we're going to help put that snapshot together for you so that you, again, can make a really good decision about who do I want to work with and what does that look like? Like, what are some of the things that I'm going to need? And it's a process, but I think it can be so overwhelming, for individuals that are just starting. And so having a team behind you that understands like kind of how to begin, I think is very, very important.
Absolutely. And I think with you having the training in how to even read these policies is super important. If people want to reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you? What's the best number for them to call?
Sure. So they can reach me Monday through Friday at McCarthy Law at 401-541-5540, and I'm at extension 1011.
Awesome. And if they wanted to email you?
Sure. It's T. Andersen at McCarthyLawRI.com.
Awesome. And I know Samantha McCarthy, she just moved the office into a new location. It's huge, bright, beautiful, right in downtown East Greenwich. If you're coming in from Division, it's going to be on the left-hand side, just past CVS. If you're coming up from the Odeum, it's going to be on the same side on your right. So
yes, it's absolutely
plenty of parking too.
Plenty of parking.
Wheelchair accessible.
Wheelchair accessible.
Very cool. So people can call and schedule time to come in and meet with you and get some of their questions answered, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Tonya, you've got to be crazy busy with all of the folks out there who are, really looking for trusted guidance. So I'm grateful that you were able to come on today.
Thank you, Deb. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Everybody, I've known Tonya a long time. She has the knowledge to be able to help you navigate those documents that sometimes feel like you're trying to read a dictionary. She has the skill set to do that. She has the experience to be able to help you navigate. She's over at McCarthy Law, who, yes, is one of our sponsors. Samantha's team is amazing. And I really do encourage you, if you or someone you know is watching, to reach out to Tonya, because she can help you navigate these things that are sometimes head scratchers, even for folks in the industry like myself. So give her a call, give McCarthy Law a call if you need things to get in order. You can see a lot of our Friday Friends prior, where we talk about some of the things we all have to think about as we get older. So I am really glad that you were able to join me this week. I look forward to seeing you all again next week. And in the meantime, be well and be kind.
If you like this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-0509. If you have any questions, email deb@rielderinfo.com.